Well, the time has finally come. I'm so excited. After spending 8 months researching, buying open box items, for sale items, some new as well, the day has come that we're going to install onto the Mustang. So Lane's back there taking parts off, and we're gonna take them and set them down back there, and then that way we kind of have an idea where everything goes, and then we'll just exchange all the parts out. So we're gonna get started here tonight, get the car jacked up right here, and then tomorrow get things going, get them underway. Hefty.
Yeah, it is.
Just kind of an all-in-one simple replacement.
Alright, we're going to start from the front. We got the Eibach Sway Bars. This is 35 millimeters in diameter. The rear one is 25 millimeters. We got Pedders sway bar links, bump steer kit, Heim joint steering with just regular inner tie rods and boots, steel coated brake lines, and then these are the Baer 2-piece rotors, and we got Baer 1-piece rotors in the rear. Pedders coilovers right here that'll give it, what is it, probably a 1.5 inch lower.
1 inch, yep.
1 inch, it'll lower the car about 1 inch. And then moving on kind of towards sort of the back half, we have the BMR chassis supports, or the stiffeners, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but right here, and then that is also these back here that all come in the same kit. And then in the middle, these are all different BMR polyurethane bushings for like the differential and the rear subframe. And then we've got vertical links, toe links, adjustable toe links with new bushings as well, brand new springs and brand new shocks, as well as also brand new spring perches. And then again, same thing, Kevlar steel coated brake lines, Pedders sway bar links as well, and then obviously just that same Eibach sway bar. To do tonight too is we need to take before and after photos of all the wheels and like each wheel well, and then like under, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
We should take before and after photos of those as well.
All right.
I think the fact that it's all color coded and it all kind of looks the same, just once we, like if you ever, you know, put this thing up on a lift and really get under it and look at it, it's just gonna look so cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, I just think it looks cool.
Hey, good morning guys. January 1st, 2026, we've got the big Mustang build. So we're gonna be putting all of those parts down there onto the Silver Slugger. We're excited, we're gonna get into it right away. We're gonna get these off to be painted.
These bolts going through, I was able to get the nut off. The nut off was a piece of cake. The bolts, however, were seized inside of the knuckle here. You know, you take a little warm persuasion and a 30-inch breaker bar. This big guy that I use, typically, I've only ever used this for head bolts, and I just had to use this for these. I've never had to use this any other time. And it finally cracked these loose. These aren't threaded in here, but sometimes these things get so stuck, the only way to get them out is to basically screw them out.
There we go.
Oh, wait. Look, those are kind of threaded off. Oh, no, they're not. They're just like
pretty hot, yeah. All right.
There we go.
There we go.
Man.
Some of these big bolts will just take a little bit of time, but after that, off we go.
So we got our first major stock piece out, which is the coilover, the strut. But we're taking it over. We're going to replace it with this bad guy. Let's just get kind of a weight difference. Woo! Honestly, weight-wise, they're actually kind of similar, but you can definitely feel this one almost, they feel similar weight-wise. This one almost feels more dense. I don't know what that means or if you understand what I mean by that, but I mean, this is nice though. It's super heavy duty. So we've gotten to the point where pretty much everything is off over on this side. Everything is off over on that side. The last thing to take out in the front is the sway bar. And to get to the sway bar mounting bolts, you have to actually go down from the top. So I have like 4 extensions on a 18 millimeter, I think. To get these out, man, you got room for days once you take this giant intake off.
Nice, got the bolt out. There's where the sway bar is down there. How many extensions you got on?
4, 3 or 4, 3 I think.
See how round that is? Ford doesn't give a lot of leeway for this, but Lane's kind of figured it out. Got the other side done. This is the last one.
So these little spacer things that come in one of the bushing spacer kits, I don't know, I'm kind of spacing out on what it's called right now. But what happens is these slide in the cradle bushing, and it basically goes over the bolt like this. So there is now, I mean, there's this much space basically between the cradle and the bolt. So there's this much space for the bolt to move in there. Whereas this, I think it's like an alignment dowel, something like that. That's what it's called. That goes in there, and so it sits in the cradle to the point where now this has no more wiggle room at all when it's in the cradle bushing.
Wrenching
in here because it gets past this metal lip. You can see it.
Wow.
Just my boy and me. Oh, late nights out in the garage, talking out between the jobs. Turn the key, hear that sound. Best thing I ever found. From small town streets to the open plains, chasing sun through wind and rain. Oh yeah. Rolling through the USA, one more dream we're gonna chase. Built, not bought, yeah, you can see it's more than just a Mustang to me. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been there now for sure. Ended up having to grind off the end of this bump stop because there's this big there was like a big, thick washer here that was stopping us from getting this bump stop off, because we need this to put on the new shock. And in all the videos that we watched about this, the guy just pulls it right off, but ours, for whatever reason, that washer was just, there was no way this was gonna fit over that. So we just, I mean, we're not reusing these shocks, we're not selling them, so we're just throwing them away, so we might as well just cut it off. So one trouble that we really had on the driver's side of the car is this rear toe link bushing. We are actually going to take this out and trade it out for a, like, kind of like a toe link ball joint instead of just a straight bushing almost. Like an enclosed ball joint, I guess. But on the driver's side, we had a really hard time pushing this thing out, and we're having an even harder time putting it back in without scoring up the inside of this hole. So we're actually just going to take this whole knuckle off on both sides. We already did it on the driver's side, and we're actually just going to take it to a machine shop and have them press it out and press it in, because I mean, this is aluminum. The ball joints that are going in there are steel, so it's pretty easy to kind of score up the inside of that area and, you know, almost make it even worse than it is. You know, might as well just leave a bushing in there because we're making it kind of worse. But we're going to take it to a machine shop so they can do that, and then that way the liability is off of our hands, and we can get to working on stuff that we honestly would rather work on than this. So I wanted your help. Alright, now that I've got all the brake equipment off, we're gonna have to get this little dust shield off. And it is kind of rubber and metal, so you just kind of have to hammer right at the edge. And you'll pry it back enough where you can pry it fully off. What's up, Dave? Go, just like that. And then you'll take the 25mm socket on your impact and get this thing off. That. Now that that's off, this hub should just come right off, which that was very easy, it did. And then so this is the surface that wheel bearing is going to go onto, and this is what you'll take your brake cleaner, just your parts cleaner, whatever you have, and just kind of clean this surface off a little bit, as well as the backing plate, you know, get everything nice and clean. And then after everything is clean, I'm gonna take this waterproof spray lubricant by BG Products, but you can take really any kind of lubricant to this, and I'm just gonna kind of lube it up just a little bit. And the only thing you wanna be careful of to make sure you wipe off is the ABS sensor right here. Just kind of wipe it off because you don't wanna get any of that lubricant to stay on there when you put the hub back on. So I'm just gonna make sure all that lube comes off. And then I will take the new bearing and kind of slide it on here. And the new bearing should be a little bit harder to go on. So you just kind of have to finagle it a little bit. Oh, right there. And then now that we've got it on most of the way, instead of just trying to keep pushing it, I don't want to pop this inner race out, because the back race, the bearing race, and then the front one, they're two separate pieces. So you don't want those to come flying out. That's what I have this 28mm socket for. It fits perfectly right on the edge of this inner race. And I'm just gonna hammer it a few times just to really kind of get it on there. Just like that, right there, I got it on pretty good. And now this bearing is kind of flush back here at the back. And as you can see, it spins nice and good on there. Now, I'm just gonna take the axle nut again, or not really an axle nut, but just the bearing nut again, and screw this back on. Get my 25mm, and I'll just kind of, oh yeah, I'll add Lockout too. That's a good point. And then I am just gonna add a little dab of Loctite onto these threads right here. Like that. And then this bearing nut is ready to go on. And then again, I'll take my 35mm and just kind of tighten it. So there, that's on nice and good. And then the final step before we do everything is we'll make sure we want to torque this nut down and then put the caliper, excuse me, then put the rotor back on, the caliper back on, torque the caliper down, and then then put the wheel on, and that should be about the end of the video. Or that should be about the end of the install. And then can you hold this? You're good now, you're not falling. What up, girl? What time is it right now? 5:30. 5:30? Oh my gosh, kidding me? All right. All right, now kind of nearing the end of this install. I've got the wheel hub nut torqued on, calipers all torqued on. The only other thing is just putting this dust cap back on here, and then that should be it for the install. Hi, Mom. Good, how are you? All right, that should be good.
Well, couldn't be more happy. We've got the build basically done. All the components are on it. We're gonna do an oil change and then rotate the tires, get them back on. And then after that, when we go for a drive, we'll bed in the brakes. And then in 2 days, we've got the alignment for this thing. So want a big shout out to Lane, big shout out to American Muscle for all these products that we purchased from. Great prices, got some open box, so we're real happy, and we're excited to get this on the road, and we'll show you more later. Thanks. Oh man, that looks so sick. Look at that.